Well, the district saw a huge spike in motor vehicle thefts last year, averaging about 272 car thefts a month. That's almost 100 more a month than the year before. Last week, my car was stolen. Here's the surveillance video here. And you'll notice the suspect casually walk up. He remotely unlocks the car, gets in, takes about 20 to 30 seconds, and starts it. Here's the thing. I had the only key fob. So, of course, I was wondering, how in the world is this possible? To share more information on how this was done and how to prevent it from happening to you is AAA guest John Townsend. John, good morning to you. Thanks for joining us this morning and kind of breaking down how this is possible. I know it's going to shock a lot of people. Good morning.
Good morning, Jeanette. As you mentioned a moment ago, first of all, let me say I'm sorry your car was stolen. Let's just say that. That is a catastrophic loss. And there's a sense of invasion of your personal property and your personal space, so my heart goes out to you. But this happened, as you mentioned a moment ago, thousands of times in the District of Columbia last year, when auto thefts were up 50%. Auto thefts were up 15% in Prince George's County, 9% across the nation. And the strange and paradoxical thing about it is that car thefts have been trending downward, and then the pandemic hit, and then all of a sudden, car thefts began to increase, not only across the region, but across the country. And one of the things that thieves are doing is to use the same kind of caper they use with you, which is to triangulate or to seize your signal from your key fob, and then they can trap it and then utilize it to take your car, even though you have your own key fob. And it can happen, as you mentioned a moment ago, Jeanette, in a matter of 30 seconds. That's all it takes for them to capture your key code, the signal from your key fob, and then seize the car. And it's disconcerting, but even before the pandemic, when auto thefts were trending downward, about 56% of all cars stolen in the United States was because someone left their key fob in the car or because some thief stole the signal.
Right. And you know, I know we've talked in the past about cars being stolen, the cars that were running, right? And key fobs left in the car, which is why I was so confused. Fortunately, I should mention, I was able to track my car on an app. So I saw it on the move as the thief was driving away, and we were able to track it down only because of that. I'm not sure if we would have been able to get a hold of it so quickly if it weren't for that. Another thing that I was fortunate to have happen to me is that I took all of my valuables out of the car, even though I was just running upstairs really quickly. Talk to me about what people should do in terms of protecting your belongings when it comes to car thefts.
That's the most important thing, is what you mentioned a moment ago, which is to take your valuables with you or to store your valuables inside the glove compartment, or better yet, inside the trunk so no one can see them. Number two, always park in a well-lit place or park in the garage if you can, especially at night when you go home. And then if you have a key fob, store the key fob in a metal container inside your home. Do not leave it on the coffee table. Do not leave it on the kitchen table. Don't leave it on the counter. Put it in a metal container, and you can buy these. And then there's another device you can buy that's called the Faraday bag that you can store the key fob in. But the thing you don't want to do, which is what so many people are doing, is to store the key fob in the microwave or the stove or in the refrigerator or the freezer. Don't do that because you can damage it. And then, as you mentioned a moment ago, you track your device. So or your car rather, so if your car or your key fob are stolen, then what you should do is contact the dealership and then switch code or change code too.
Because the thieves would already have it. You know, these are things that this is something that I wish I had known, right? I would have done things differently. Fortunately, it worked out for me. And the reason I'm sharing this is because a lot of people out there don't know about this. So if you can apply any of these tips, do it as soon as possible. This was certainly a shock to me. John, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate the tips.
I'm glad you were able to recoup your car.
Thank you. Thank you. And Marissa, before I toss it over to you, I do want to shout out DC Police because they were on it and helped me track down the car before any real damage was done.
And ultimately, I'm just glad you're okay and you have your car back. All right.